Hey, what's up, team? My name's Anthony Lowe.
My name's Jennifer Solomon, and this is Team Chat, streaming on WNYU.org and on 89.1 FM. And first off, let's just say thanks to everybody that listened to our first episode and coming back to listen to our second episode. It means so much to us, and we're just really appreciative. It's mine and Anthony's very first radio show and broadcast or podcast. We've never done this before, so we understand we might not be like the best speakers or anything, but we appreciate you guys listening to us and coming back for more. So, to go a little bit more in depth rather than introductory stuff like last time, let's just talk about current esports news and what's happening in esports right now. And let's just start with League of Legends because they have a new international tournament coming up. Like, they changed the format, and let's have Anthony Lowe talk about it.
Yeah, so Jenny, before we start, have you
Go.
ever heard of the brand new international tournament for League called First Stand? Have you ever heard of it yet?
No, I haven't.
Okay, well, so First Stand is basically League of Legends' brand new international tournament, as I just said, but also it's to kind of spice up the whole competitive season because only having two international tournaments in League has been a little bit boring. So adding a third might spice up more viewers and generate more interest for competitive League of Legends. But to qualify for First Stand, some of these teams have already qualified for the tournament. So in Korea, Korea's representative for this tournament is Hanwha Life. They actually just beat Genji 3-2 in the grand finals of the LCK. And in Americas, where Team Liquid just defeated 100 Thieves 3-0 to qualify for First Stand. And spoiler alert, it's not called the LCS anymore. It's called the LTA.
What?
I have a little bit of gripes about that, but Jenny, why don't you tell me a little bit? What are your thoughts about, the LCS no longer being here and now being called the LTA?
Mm-hmm. Honestly, I did not even know what was happening when LCS was like, oh, we're the LTA now. But just so our listeners know, like, LCS is the North American League of Legends, right? It was the
Yeah.
North American League of Legends Esports. The LCS stood for League Championship Series? Or,
Yep.
yeah. So,
Yeah.
just North American, like, America, North America, United States of America.
Yeah. So
Right? And
I mean,
yeah, I don't know. And then it just
sorry.
turned to
I mean,
LTA. Like, I don't know.
so the LTA is the combination of North and South America. So the combination of the Brazilian League, the North American League, the oh my God, the South American League, and basically all the regions that used to be individual has all been combined into the LTA. So South is now LTA South, and North is LTA North, and they basically are one giant region combined with each other. And I'm not a big fan of the name League of the Americas, but that's my own personal gripes. I'm just I'm just nostalgic and I just miss the LCS branding, I guess. Shame on me a little bit, but yeah, that's basically the LTA, and it's the top four teams in the South region and the top four teams in the North region compete against each other to represent the LTA as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it has become. Um, so, and in other news, the Pacific region, the Flying Oysters defeated Talon Esports 3-1. Uh, so they finally actually defeated Talon Esports for the very first time in a grand finals. So they will be representing the Pacific region as a whole, which is great for them, and I'm very happy for that team. But speaking a little bit more about the LTA, Jenny, did you know that before rebranding to the LTA, the LCS was kind of struggling a little bit with viewership? Did you know that?
I knew that. I saw that some teams dropped out of franchising. I forgot exactly which ones, but I knew that it was declining. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's been declining for a little bit now, and I would definitely say personally, I think one of the main reasons why it's been declining is the LCS or LTA now. I really don't like it, but the LTA, LCS region has been very weak internationally. So when you talk about League of
Mm,
Legends teams competing in the international stage, it's usually the Korean teams, the Chinese teams, and at one point in 2019, 2020, European teams were really good as well. But the North American teams and South American teams as well has always been struggling to compete with the rest. And when you aren't performing as well, people aren't as inclined to watch you. So they kind of changed the LCS into the LTA, mixing up North and South America together to bolster viewership and bolster interest into the region as a whole again. But, only time can tell about how successful this move is going to be. And we really don't know yet right now, but we just have to wait and see what happens.
yeah. No, I think it sounds like a good thing, in my
I-
opinion.
I'm
I
hoping it's a good thing.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing combining it and making it more competitive, more interesting, etc. But I kind of want to go. You already like glossed over a little bit, but the new tournament, right? The last stand, right? First stand.
It's
Sorry.
first stand, first
Yeah,
stand,
first
first stand.
stand. Um, like why is that different? Like, why is you kind of talked about how League is doing it because like this is like the third and new tournament, so maybe go into a
Hmm.
little bit of that.
Yeah, so first stand is just an international tournament, and it's trying to take the six best teams of the main of sorry, the six best teams that perform the best in each of their regions and compete against each other for an international title. And it's for Riot Games, which made League of Legends and Valorant as well, to gather hype for the beginning of the season because in the old League of Legends system, competitive system, the first international tournament we get is actually not until the summer, which is a very long wait if you think about it, because there's the spring split, which is happens in the spring, and then once summer starts, that's where the international tournament kicks off, and there's a really long wait to see the best teams compete against each other. So Riot really wanted to gather hype for the League of Legends season early, where we get to see international teams fight against each other now, like right away. You know,
Hmm. Yeah,
I
no,
mean,
yeah.
yeah.
It sounds. I heard that they also kind of want to do it similarly to Valorant from someone I heard. So someone at Riot told me that they were trying to make it more towards similar to Valorant, like having three events, like two quote unquote, like not smaller international events, but two international events and the World Championship event, which is the bigger one at the end of the year. And hopefully that works. I think it's a really good idea. But another interesting thing regarding this and like a new tournament and like creating hype is Fearless Draft. So, you know Fearless Draft?
I do. It might
I
be a
can
little bit hard to.
Yeah, no, I think
You
I
you
think
want
it's
you want to you
okay.
want to give it a shot?
Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah,
will. Yeah,
go for it. Go
I
for
can
it.
explain. So there's like what 180, 160. There's a little under 200 characters in League, and when you play the game competitively, you get 5 bans, and we don't really have to go too in depth with like banning phase, but you ban each team gets to ban 5 characters. So that means the opposing team and your team can't play that one of those banned characters. So before Fearless Draft, it was just regular bans. You ban for that one game because in grand finals and in other tournaments like best of 3, grand finals best of 5. So Fearless Draft now makes it so if those 10 characters that are banned in the first game are also banned in the rest of the series. So they're banned in the second game, they're banned in the third game, fourth and fifth, and so on. So this makes League of Legends Esports a lot more interesting and fun because you're not seeing the same 10 or like 15 characters within 3 games like being played, because there's a meta. Like League of Legends and Valorant are like changing games. They change very important aspects of the game every once in a while, and it completely changes how like characters work. So that's the meta, and there'll be like 15 characters that are always seen in like the esports meta. But the way Fearless Draft is like now it's gonna force people, or like force professionals to be even better. So you get to see more interesting competitions, more interesting matchups in the game. And I think having a new tournament to kick this off too, that's earlier, even like increases the hype. So I think that was a good job of explaining it, right?
No, you did a great job.
Okay.
No, you did it
Okay.
way better than I could have done it.
Okay, yes,
But
thank you.
for fearless draft, it really benefits the professional players who can play a wide variety of champions in the game, and it forces other pro players to adapt how they train and how they practice the game, so they can't just be constantly playing the same three champions in practice every single day. Now they have to learn how to master 7 or 8 or 9 different champions in a competitive sense, which makes the game a lot more entertaining to watch, and also gives the viewers a chance to see something very unique, like a pick that isn't usually played but is more of like a pocket pick. So, for example, uh,
For
Hanwha
example.
Life's
Yeah.
sorry, for example, Hanwha Life's top laner, Zeus. When you think of top laners, you don't think of Anivia, who's traditionally a mid lane champion. So I'm kind of going into this like
It's
into a whole
okay, you
spiel, and
can.
I feel like, but I mean, it's just like very unique picks that people can choose now. You're more, what's the word for it? You're more, I can't think of the word.
You just have to be more flexible. Like you have to
Yeah,
be
more
better at the
flexible.
game.
Yeah, there we go. You have to be more flexible and just better at the game to play these champs against other people, which is a great thing for League of Legends, and it's something that really changes the dynamic of the game a lot with this new drafting system.
Yeah, so I think just in general, League of Legends Esports is on the right path. Like, definitely everything that they're doing is right. Like, for this year, it should be great. Like, it should be fun. Fearless Draft, everything, the new tournament. It should be fun. So, we're looking forward to that. Of course, we're going to talk a little bit more about that. And now going into something that's more current, we have Valorant Champions Tour, also known as VCT, the Masters tournament happening in Bangkok, Thailand. So this is the first international tournament for Valorant, also hosted by Riot Games, which made Valorant. And yeah, it's like kind of a kickoff, but um, very important for these teams. It allows them to gain points. Maybe if we can have Anthony explain the point system and how it correlates to
Yeah.
like champions and stuff.
So, for quick context, the Champions Tournament is the World Championship Finals. It's like the World Cup, I would say, like the equivalency of a World Cup. But teams compete in international tournaments and their domestic leagues, and they're really competing for circuit points. And these circuit points determine if you are able to qualify for the Champions Tournament. And in the domestic leagues, if you place top four in your league, you get from a range of 4 to 1 point. And if you play in an international tournament like VCT Bangkok right now, the top four teams actually gain a little bit more. So the first place team gets 5 points, and then the next three teams below get 3, 2, and 1 points respectively. And teams are trying to earn these points to qualify for champions. And the earlier that you can gather the more points, the easier it is to, I would say, secure your future to basically play in the biggest tournament of the year.
Yeah.
Um, and I mean, have you been watching Bangkok, VCT Bangkok at all? Honestly, have you had a chance? I know the timing and all sorry, the timing of the event
Time
isn't great
zone.
for North
Yeah.
American. Yeah, the time zone isn't great for North American viewers. I'm living in Chicago right now, so if I wanted to catch a game, I would have to wake up at 5 in the morning to watch the second game because it would start at 6.
Yeah.
And for you, it would be you have to wake up at 6 to watch the game at 7. It's not the greatest timing for both of us.
Yeah.
But have you been keeping up with it recently?
Yeah, I've just been watching with my friends like YouTube highlights. Nothing too major. I haven't caught any of the games live. I think I caught one game that was live while it was happening, and it was EDG versus G2, and they went into overtime. And competition's still great. The casting is phenomenal. I think casting for esports is really difficult. Um, but mostly highlights. I think an interesting thing about esports is a lot of viewers and esports fans don't watch on or from the Riot Games Esports broadcast. They mostly watch from watch parties or streams, like streamers just watching the game because people like the extra commentary. But so I've been watching some YouTube highlights of some streamers, but otherwise haven't really caught the games live while they were happening. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the same as you. I have not been able to catch a live game yet because of the time zone difference. But I mean, you talked a little bit about the whole watching streamers watch the game and watching their reactions. I feel like it would be interesting to kind of dive deeper into that aspect. Why do you think people, personally, why do you think people tend to enjoy watching streamers more, watching like a professional game than watching the current live broadcast? You know,
Mhm.
the contrast between the two. Why would you say people tend to lean towards streamers more?
I think it's because besides from rank and like personality, I think people enjoy streamers because they can relate to them a little bit more than an esports professional that's like on the stage. And like watching a streamer is like watching a version of yourself that you wish was you, I guess. Like I wish I was a streamer, but no, like you at the end of the day you're watching someone that's watching the same game as you, has the same interests, who's likely a higher rank than you too, and has interesting insights and have more biased reactions when they watch. Like the casters who are really good in the Riot Games broadcast, they can't obviously say like this is their favorite, that's their favorite, oh rooting for this team. But you watch, for example, Tarek. Tarek is screaming for Sentinels. He's like out of his chair, taking off his headphones. Like people just live for that type of entertainment. So I think people just enjoy watching streamers because of that. Do you
Is it like
agree?
living vicariously through that streamer? That's like the
Honestly,
whole.
I think so. To an extent, that might just be like streaming in general, but I think sometimes it can also just get a little stale maybe watching like other people play video games like professionally. Like I know for a lot of people it's great, but some people just need that extra person in the bottom right corner of their screen to like scream at them every once in a while, you know? Like
I,
I
yeah.
yeah,
No,
yeah.
I didn't mean to cut you off, but I just
That's
find it
okay.
so funny because I feel like in esports that like esports is one of the only times where you would watch a streamer watch a professional game because if you compare it to any other traditional sport, I don't think you would ever watch a streamer watch like a basketball game live. That's really
Yeah.
weird. I feel like esports is like one of the only thing like times you would do that. I mean, it's
Mhm.
great. I think it's super unique and I really love how that's like another way of watching the game and I'm not trying to disrespect it at all. I just find it super funny that esports is one of the only thing like sports out there that you could watch a professional game like that.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny.
Yeah, I agree. No, I think also I think it's maybe like the chatting aspect there where like you can type in the broadcast but nobody's going to respond to you. But if you type in a streamer's chat, there's a chance that they're like, "What are you talking about? What opinion like that's so dumb." Like, what, you know, I think it's just
Yeah.
more like
Yeah.
interaction, of course, and people like betting channel points. So, you know, channel points is something on Twitch where you can get little rewards just for watching a streamer, but you can also bet those channel points just like betting things like who wins the game, but very minor betting. It's like fake currency. But yeah, so I think that's why. But kind of returning back to the original like VCT style and how it works. I just want to say like what teams are playing and how like VCT works. And the first season was in 2021, so this was only a year after Valorant was even made, and run by Riot Games. So Riot Games is extremely successful with League of Legends, so it was kind of obvious that Valorant Esports would be, relatively successful in that sense. And it's split into 4 regions. So we have the Americas, EMEA, Pacific, and China. And China was added in 2024 because Valorant just didn't exist in China, right? Like they just didn't release it
Yeah.
until 2023 or 2024. Like
I think it came out in late
20,
2023,
yeah.
but really quick, the reason why China didn't have Valorant the same time as all the other regions is because in China you need to get a specific game license from the government.
Oh.
So that whole process took a little bit longer for Riot Games to work with the Chinese government, and eventually it got accepted, and that's why it took a little bit longer. But that's
Huh.
quick context of why it took so long.
Well, I didn't know
Yeah.
that, so I thought it was
Yeah.
just something
That's
with the guns and stuff. I don't know.
No, 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 no. It was to get a license from the government.
Okay,
Yeah.
I see, I see.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, so very interesting. So now let's go into the teams that are currently playing. So we have EDG, which is Edward Gaming, and they're from China, and they won. They were the world champions from last year, and they were the underdogs in the championship last year, right? Like people,
Yeah,
yeah,
they
didn't really think they
were
were gonna win.
I don't want to say they were heavy underdogs, but they were definitely not the favorites to win, but
Yeah,
they were
no.
dark horses. They were dark horses to win that tournament. Not the underdogs, but there was maybe a miracle run that they could have happened, and it did happen. But
Mhm.
I think for VCT Bangkok, they are the heavy favorites to win. They are by far one of the best teams in the world right now. So it's
Yeah.
kind of a crazy contrast to champions last year. But yeah,
Mhm.
go
Yeah,
on.
yeah, yeah. So they're 2-0 right now, and currently we're still in the Swiss and group stages, right? So
I
not
think I
too
think
far.
I think they qualified to
Oh,
the
okay.
knockout stage. Yeah,
All
so
right.
they're through. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Yeah. Good. Noted. But next we have Team Vitality, which is from EMEA, and they're 2-0. DRX from Pacific, and they're 1-1. G2 Esports, which is 1-1. Um, from the
They're from the
Americas.
Americas.
Yeah, T1 from Pacific. They're 1-1 right now. We have Team Liquid, which they're also 1-1 from EMEA, and let's just say the eliminated teams, which is Sentinels, and sorry, they're from the Americas, and we have Trace Esports, which is from China. And so Sentinels Trace already eliminated, so they won $10,000 USD for just being 7th and 8th place, and the prize pool of this tournament is 500,000 USD, so a lot of money. And just so you guys know, it increases, so Toronto will be a bigger prize pool, and so will Paris, and Paris is the championship. And yeah, so Sentinels was really disappointing for a lot of America's fans. I think everybody would say that Sentinels is always a fan favorite, even though their past performances haven't exactly been the best since they won Madrid, which was the Masters from last year, right? So they did
Yeah.
good, but
Yep.
they kind of fell off. But people still like really like them. People are getting kind of upset, but yeah. And then we have Trace. I honestly can't say that much about Trace. I'm always surprised that they qualify. Like I always see them, but then I always see them get last in international tournament. Right?
I think that's just how unique the Chinese region is because EDG is Edward Gaming is so far ahead of all the teams around the world that like you would assume China's second team would be would be similar in skill, but I would just think that they aren't as good as the other international teams out there right now. But Edward Gaming for China is crazy.
It's
They're
crazy.
way too good
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah, no, for sure. I remember like everyone was so surprised. Everyone was betting that Heretics was gonna that was gonna win, but they didn't. But Unfortunately, we only have around 5 minutes left, so I kind of, although we wanted to talk a little bit more about Valorant and game changers and challengers, we can probably talk about that in another episode. But I kind of want to talk about like watch parties and our personal experiences. So I think Anthony Lowe
Yeah.
has more of a fun experience to talk about that I'm envious of. So explain.
Um, should I just okay? I mean, I've had the honor of going to a Valorant tournament live. I had the honor of traveling to Los Angeles in 2023 to watch Valorant Champions. I saw North America win their very first Champions title. Evil Geniuses. If people remember that team with Demon One and Jogamo and Calm. Sorry,
No,
but I
yeah,
had
yeah,
the honor of watching that. But yeah, my experience watching events live has been special. I think it equals or personally, I think it is better than watching a live traditional sports event.
yeah.
It's just a
Oh.
different environment. Um, Especially when you get to see. I mean, I would say it's the same actually because you're in a stadium or in an arena where everyone shares the same passion for the game, and it's just such a unique experience to have, and I would definitely love to do that again in the future.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, Jenny, I mean, for watch parties, we've both, had the chance to participate, but you've had the opportunity to host one before. What was it like hosting, a watch party, having people watch a broadcast or a esports tournament live
Yeah.
in a venue, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I did a small, I would say a small watch party with NYU and in partnership with our campus recreation. And our venue got taken away like 3 days before the event happened, and I was scrambling and it was really sad, but I was able to make it happen. And everybody was telling me, everybody as in like the campus rec managers and such, they were like, oh, only 15 to 10 people, or like 15 is generous, like no, not that many people are gonna come. We had over 50 people, so we had
50?
55-0. And this was in like the basement of a building because we had to like last minute pick out a place, and definitely it was cramped in there. Like I was sitting all the way off to the side, but I'm still really grateful that it happened. Seeing everybody's energy was really amazing. So this was with league, and the league champions, the world championship last year was, let's just say, to put it easy, like South Korea's defending world championship team versus China. And China's teams have always been losing against the South Korean teams. And I was so surprised to see so many people support the Chinese team. The only reason why I was surprised is because, reigning champions like T1, like everybody loves T1, but this watch party really was, the room was split in half. I would say 25-25, and every team fight people were chanting, cheering, and they were like cursing. They were all like, the emotion was real. Like, even though to some people it might just be watching people play video games on like a TV, it was so much more than that. Like there was true passion and emotion. And I just think watch parties are a really big aspect of esports that honestly are 100% undermined. And I personally really like watch parties. We went to a Riot Games, me and Anthony Lowe went to a Riot Games one where we met Tarek, the streamer, and Josh Secchi, and there was a chance to meet the professional Jogamo that Anthony just talked about from EG, and just really great. Like, it was hosted by Riot. I think it's really great to get people in the esports community together because most of these things are online. So, really unique opportunity. I think they're really important. But yeah, I want to go to so many more. I want to host more, and I just really think they're great. But unfortunately, I would have to say we're out of time. So there's definitely so much more to go into, and we have so much more that we wanted to talk about. like I mentioned, like Game Changers, which is another Valorant like tournament for semi-professional teams. Very interesting. It's for women and other marginalized genders. We have Challengers, which is kind of like how for teams can qualify for a higher tier of competitive Valorant through like a lower semi-pro. There's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff to go through that we want to talk about.
Yeah, so please stay tuned. Thank you so much for coming to the second episode of Team Chat. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed.
Thank you guys for listening.
Yes, yay, bye. Chat is all feet. That was skill.
All feet.
Is that really what you...
No,
Yeah, all speed is all speed, all speed.
What did
Speed.
I just say?
Yeah, Jenny's just hearing what she wants to hear, like actually though.
I really think so.
Wait, what?